Hi viewers, welcome to a live session of CPPR election series, Decoding the Polls. After a tense weekend over US elections and US election results, I would like to invite the attention of all election enthusiasts to the post-poll analysis of Bihar elections. I'm Gautam K, Project Associate, Center for Public Policy Research, and to take forward further our discussion, we have with us our chairman, Dr. D. Dhanraj. Welcome, sir.
Okay.
So, with around 50%, more than 50% of the polled votes are counted, defying almost all the exit poll predictions, NDA is leading in Bihar. So I would like to ask the first question: how much we should rely these exit polls anymore? We've seen the opinion polls in US elections. They predicted almost a comfortable victory for Joe Biden, but it was not the case there. Then the exit polls predicted a comfortable victory for Mahagathbandhan in Bihar, and it was not the case now. So how much we should rely on these exit polls?
No, I want to make a correction before we start. One is this is not a post-poll analysis because poll is still counting is still on. So because to answer your question, I think that is very important. I think I'm not ready to call this election yet. I mean, this is only in the 60%, between 60 and 70%. But at the same time, around 60 to 70 seats are declared in Bihar. And the trend shows that NDA is leading, and those declared officially and unofficially. I mean, Election Commission website doesn't show too many seats, but so many media houses are gathering information from different counting stations. They declared that more than 60 to 70 seats. So their NDA is leading. So your question on the exit polls, I think it's too early to say that exit polls are wrong. I mean, somebody doing this, not exit polls, but basically mostly opinion polls for the last 10, 15 years. I see that, exit polls, we can't say that exit polls are going wrong. Here also only 2 or 3 exit polls, they predicted the landslide victory for, Mahagathbandhan. Otherwise, most of the exit polls were like, neck to neck race. So it's too early to say that, okay, that is not happening. Actually, that is exactly happening now. Some of the news channels are showing NDA is only 121, below halfway mark. Some other shows at 128. So it's almost like in the range that was predicted by exit poll, teams, different exit poll teams. And the issue right now, I think with the exit poll, whether it's in US or in India, while we conduct this exit poll, we are doing it in the COVID time. So one of the big challenges is, we don't know what is the mechanism they used to collect the data from the ground. I believe to a certain extent, some of these numbers are collected on phone, over phone, calling them. In US, it is accepted. So the reasons why, probably that gone wrong in US is totally different from what is happening in India. In US, what happened with between Biden and Trump, I see the sampling proportion was not represented properly even this time also. If you look at Hispanics, blacks, because there was overtly understanding about some section of the society would definitely vote for Biden. That was not the case actually. When both the blacks also voted for not blacks, basically the Puerto Ricans, Hispanics, the great people, they all voted for Trump, state like Florida. But in India, I think here the challenge is we don't know how much they were able to do that. There could be a deviation from the regular exit poll exercises they used to conduct in the past and what they did this time because of the COVID situation. So we can always give the benefit of doubt to the exit poll people, but I think more than whether it is right or wrong, it gives an idea about how electorate is thinking about, and how the opinion polls also gives an idea about how people look at the governance issues, various other issues. So I don't think we should come to a conclusion that we should not rely on exit polls. I think it's reliable, and we have, fortunately, India is also having so many so many exit polls. It's not like one or two people. So you can always look at exit polls. I also want to say one interesting aspect of exit poll. In the last so many elections, one of the exit poll teams that called the elections right is Axis. India Today Axis Chanakya team. And in fact, for them, this time it was landslide victory. For landslide meaning probably they will cross 180, not 122. So we have to wait and watch how much it goes. Still 40% or 35% votes to be counted. And there are so many states which has got a very less margin, thin margin. So we don't know. I mean, I'm not ready to call the elections, but the understanding during the election time was there is a swing in favor of Mahagathbandhan towards end. But if that is right, and all media was reporting it, exit polls also were showing that. So if that is right, I think we could have, we could still see some changes here and there towards approaching the final tally late in the evening today.
But keeping aside the enthusiasm and the people's participation in Tejasvi Yadav's rallies and election meetings, when we discussed in the previous weeks and all, from the political equation available, we could see NDA has an advantage because there are two motors that can work together. Because JDU can gather an amount of vote and BJP together can gather some seats. But in the case of RJD, it's RJD alone, and it's visible right now, right?
No, I think so far the trend, what I've analyzed so far shows that both alliances have got the problem, this issue, the challenge. If India has to form a majority government, I think BJP has to really do well. I mean, because in the last 2-3 hours, we could see that number is almost like fluctuating between 72, 77, 76, 72 and all. The moment BJP goes below 70, the game is over, because the reason is JDU is not performing. JDU is again between 45, 52, 53. And some of the trends I've seen from different parts of Bihar where the margin is less. Mostly that is affecting JDU, not BJP. But if the scenario changes, if the margin changes now, then there could be a problem for NDA, and BJP has to really pull it for NDA. And in the case of Mahagathbandhan, again same case, 70 seats were given to Congress, and now they are like 19, 20 seats. So the strike rate, I know many people say strike rate in this case. The strike rate is very poor for Congress. Whereas RJD strike rate is not so great compared to what strike rate we see with BJP so far. But still RJD is, again going, they're also fluctuating between, the numbers are fluctuating between 66, 70, maximum they touched is 70, 71. So if RJD could pull it above 70, one case scenario is BJP's number goes below 70 and RJD's number goes, I'm sure that will be like a tie, at the end. But I think more than the numbers right now, I think what matters is, one, BJP is the party in power in New Delhi. They have money, they have got power, they've got CBI, all these things are there. So anything around, between 150, 120 could be an advantage for BJP, given the circumstance that there are some, independent, not independent, the third party, third alliance, they are also winning few seats. Who knows? They may also jump to NDA, because I think NDA can offer more than what Mahagathbandhan could offer in terms of cabinet berth, or in terms of some positions here and there. I don't know how much money will be exchanged in the next few hours. I'm also, I was talking to somebody from Bihar, like already talks are there, they already started. And BJP, and one more thing, today, if you look at other bipolls, look at Madhya Pradesh, look at Karnataka, BJP won comfortably. So that means that there's one more choice for them. They could ask some of these opposition MLAs to resign, because the trend is probably giving reassurance to those opposition MLAs to resign and contest again from BJP ticket, because today's election shows that they could win even if they switch over to BJP and stand. That also makes an NDA government possible in Patna.
Since we have talking about the situation of JDU here, so in comparison to the 2005 results, they have around 80 seats, but now they are leading in somewhere around 42 to 43 seats. From 12 in the afternoon, the situation has not changed much. So what is the role that LJP played here? So the conspiracy theories that we are hearing from the past few weeks, that a undercurrent between LJP, a secret, secret agreement between LJP and BJP. Chirag Paswan said that I will be the Hanuman for Narendra Modi, and some statements from Chirag Paswan. So what is their role in specific? What is the role that they played in?
I think you remember we had discussed in the past also. I always described his act as act of immaturity in politics, because I think he might be realizing now. He did. I'm sure there will be some offers from BJP, but otherwise, as a politically, a political force, make his party as a dominating or a relevant political force in Bihar politics. I think he failed, and I'll tell you what is the reason. Paswan community has got only 4% vote Paswan community has got only 4% in Bihar population, and LJP polled around 6% last time, and they had 2 MLAs. And but remember, they had 28% vote share in 42 seats they had contested last time, and they contested 42 seats and they won 2 seats last time. So 28% in a especially in a situation like this that we are talking about, it's a very, very crucial, significant number. So what happened now is, I think with the blessing of BJP leadership in Delhi, he went and fought. His fight was against Nitish, and at the same time he said, "I am part of NDA." So literally he ate into the JDU's pot share. And also remember, some of his candidates were those who rebelled. We can say they're rebels, but at the same time there's a conspiracy theory that the rebels were not rebels. Actually, they were sponsored candidate by BJP. Whatever it is, there was an upper caste dominance also in the fielding of those candidates in some of the constituencies, because LJP fought in 143 seats where JDU contested. And technically, I could say that what happened now is the upper caste vote was not gone to it's not gone to JDU, because it was with LJP, because technically the contest became between LJP and JDU in some part of the Bihar, some of the regions in Bihar, and upper caste votes are always for BJP. Here, a pseudo candidate is fielded by LJP, and that vote has gone to LJP, and that vote should have gone to JDU in the normal circumstances. So on the ground, I believe, so far my assessment is, so far the votes from JDU, they went to BJP, because for JDU it was a survival issue. For BJP, it was not a survival issue. I think BJP votes were not going to, they didn't go to JDU. And on and above, the LJP factor also played, where the upper caste candidates fielded by, not only upper caste, I think there are some areas where, Paswan community members were fielded, some Dalit voters were leader, even Muslim candidates were fielded by LJP. That actually ate into, JDU's vote share. So JDU's, I think, poor performance is basically contrary to our opinion polls and exit polls. I think it is because of LJP factor. We all were discussing about anti-incumbency, but seeing these numbers 42, 44, I think that was not a big anti-incumbency thing. They were doing well. And looking at some of the vote distribution, some of the seats they have, I believe LJP has got a better share, and that share should have gone to JDU. If LJP was not there, or suppose LJP was with BJP and JDU, I think JDU would have finished by 70 seats by this time, and probably giving a thumping majority for the NDA. That didn't happen. But LJP's future is at stake now because he had 2 seats, and I don't know whether he's going to win even 1 seat given the trends now. So the role of Chirag Paswan in Bihar, I'm also not sure how BJP is going to treat him, because given the style of the leadership of BJP in Delhi, they don't care about it at times. They're like, come on, I mean, you if you had performed, I would have, we would have taken you to the party. So he had to wait for some more time. And he is not going to play a crucial role in government formation, because 1 seat is not a big thing for any of these sides. If suppose 120, 121 NDA is making finally, and if they want one MLA, I don't think they are going to depend on, they don't have to depend. I'm sure Chirag Paswan has to depend on NDA, but otherwise they can get easily from somebody, somebody from other side. Even morning news was Congress was looking for a resort in Patna, right? Or they may shift their MLAs to Chhattisgarh. That shows that they have the fear. I mean, that's what is happening in most of the recent state elections in India. And the number is actually favoring India, whether they get majority, but if they can finish in around 150, I think the game is with India more than with Mahagathbandhan.
But sir, in like 1 week before, there are discussions, there are articles saying that LJP can be the black horse, LJP may be the kingmaker. But now LJP ended. I don't say ended, but as for the result now, we could see LJP is a major spoiler for JDU and might ended up in joining in BJP maybe in future as
there is a generational shift happening in Bihar. So obviously BJP is looking for young leaders and all. And the reality in this country today on the political front is there is a BJP succeeded in building a coalition of upper caste and Dalits. It varies from region to region. So the question here is, now Nitish is going out. I mean, unless he becomes chief minister now, I think he is going. I mean, he's a shrewd politician. I know. I agree with that. I'm sure he has some second plans. He may surprise all of us by tomorrow. Who knows? But I think Amit Shah already called him, and probably they are making a plan together. But I think if Nitish, this Chirag Paswan's role in Bihar will be defined by 2 factors. One is BJP is getting more seats. Around 75 seats. That shows that they are going with the. I mean, as per the projection now, BJP is the single leading, largest party in the state. So I don't think they are bothered about the smaller parties and all. They know that they have the habit, or they are very good in taking people from other parties and building that base or enlarging that base that they are working on now. Second, if that is the thing, then Chirag Paswan has to wait. Second is possibility. Second is if Nitish Kumar goes to the memory lane. I mean, I would say Nitish is not the next chief minister and something else happens. Then always there's a question about who is going to represent the Kurmi caste. So because Nitish comes from the Kurmi caste. And it's not about Kurmi caste finally, right? It's also about Dalit and Mahadalit, and it includes Paswan caste also. So there, if they want to get a person, because I don't think it is because of Chirag Paswan, it's because of the legacy left by, Ram Vilas Paswan. I'm sure BJP will be keen to take him on board if that is the case. But it depends on various permutations and combinations. I believe now Chirag Paswan has to wait. The other possibility is that if he had won some 5 seats, and if there is a crucial, 5 plus or minus 5 with both sides, probably BJP would have given him a berth. His father's berth in cabinet, union cabinet, still vacant. So he could be, he could have been given an offer. But remember, they got MPs in Lok Sabha. 6 MPs are there.
So still not a spent force. They have got, at least during the tenure of this Lok Sabha, they got some say in NDA. They may believe that they have some voice, but that's not the way even BJP is considering. They are just pushing out all the alliance partners. So that also not in favor of him. So it's not like Congress party. BJP has got their own ways of dealing with partners, good or bad for them. I believe that pushing these alliance partners or the breaking the alliance is not good for BJP in the longer run. But I don't know. Probably they have got better ideas than many of us. So he has to wait.
Yes, sir. We have seen this. I mean, in Maharashtra, Shiva Sena got alarmed earlier, and they just get pulled out from the alliance, because in mostly when BJP come into alliance with the regional party, when years pass by, they acquire the regional party. That's what happens. BJP cuts into the vote share of the regional party, and they acquire, actually, if we can say, they acquire the regional party. So Shiva Sena got alarmed earlier and they pulled out from the alliance, and now JDU is like, their vote share has been going to BJP, and now it's reducing. The presence of JDU, or the importance of JDU is reducing in Bihar, and so I don't know. As you said, in the long run, it may affect BJP, but they are the poll masters right now, so I think I let them deal with it. Then, sir, one more thing.
But I'll also add one more thing, because there is one more challenge that JDU has. After Nitish, who is the leader, we don't know, right? That's no succession, because he doesn't have children to pass the baton now. Second, there is also a possibility that, suppose if now there's a question about whether Nitish Kumar will continue as chief minister. Suppose if NDA gets majority, or he will bargain, or BJP will bargain, and even now all the spokesperson I listened from the morning, they all say that okay, Nitish is our chief minister candidate, irrespective of what numbers we get. If we form the government, he will be the chief minister. But I think there is a challenge for Nitish. But he's a shrewd politician. We should recognize that. There could be a split in the party. Who knows? JDU could be split by BJP if he goes into a bargaining. So he is actually at this point of time, I think he is operating within a constrained environment. He can't do much, because if suppose worst come worst scenario, he chooses to go to the other side, like he did in 2015, and then coming back to NDA in 2017. I think there is one more issue, because who knows that all the MLAs who got elected will go with him to other side. So again, JDU, because JDU has got a structural issue now, because we don't know the future of JDU in Bihar. Same is the case with, I'm just giving another example. Same is the case with Odisha now, BJD. After Naveen Patnaik, who is there? BJP is just waiting. They're on the wings. They're just waiting to see that okay, the tenure is over. There's no. This is what happened in Tamil Nadu also, because but the issue here is the kind of politics is not so relevant in Tamil Nadu politics, but still they won few seats, right? I mean, we should not forget that. And I'm sure the coming Tamil Nadu elections will be interesting. I'm sure they will be getting more seats. I'm not saying like they will get majority or they form the government. Absolutely no, but they will have more presence in Tamil Nadu politics. They are doing lots of work to do that. So everywhere, they're just waiting for the party to slowly, I would say slowly recede and disappear from the scene.
Now, as per the latest updated result, the seat share is again shrinking. Now it's a gap of 8 seats,
right?
With the Gathbandhan leading in 111 seats. So if BJP allow Nitish Kumar to be the chief minister, like they can, as per the current situation, they can comfortably form the government, right? As per the current situation.
Right.
So if they want the BJP chief minister in the state, the situation becomes a bit complex. They might have to I mean, they might have to go for some smaller parties.
I think that possibility was there if they win around 85 to 96, BJP alone. I don't think that possibility is not there, at least for the time being. With 70, you have to make another, you have to make up another 50 seats, right? So 72 means, another 50 seats to make it to 122. That is not going to be easy, because the other side, only possibility is that, why I said 90 seats, the possibility number one was the Congress MLAs. Think about it. You and I don't know who is the Congress leader of, the Pradesh Congress Committee of Bihar, unit of Congress, right? I mean, we don't know. I mean, I have never heard anybody. I know a few names, but they are not like big names, right? So there's always a possibility that, you can actually buy them, like what they did it in, Madhya Pradesh and all. But that possibility, Madhya Pradesh, it was easy for them because they were closer to the majority mark. But if you are finishing by 70, 72 seats, it's not easy. Even those 20 numbers will not help you finally to form the government. You have to get a lot of other MLAs also from other parties. So I rule out that possibility now with the given the present projections. But I think they will try to form government, and they probably will settle. And I think BJP is also making a statement. Okay, that is I was listening to one of the news stories now. Amit Shah, everybody is meeting in BJP headquarters after 6 o'clock. So I'm sure they are taking a decision on how to proceed from here. But my point is, there were setbacks for BJP in the last many assembly elections, right? Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Jharkhand. So in a way, this is I think it's a pleasant surprise for them. Frankly speaking, I don't think they even thought of forming a government or closer to forming a government in Bihar. But we understand, Amit Shah, Narendra Modi, they always fight to win elections. They don't fight election for the sake of fighting election, unlike many other parties they do. But I think it's a pleasant surprise for Congress. Pleasant surprise for BJP that they're getting these many seats in Bihar, and they're close to halfway mark. And I think if they get an option, I think they may work with Nitish at least for few months or 1 year, and before they create troubles for him, right? So and another thing is, having this number around 42, 45, JDU having this 42, 45 number, it seems that it is a junior partner. He's not more a senior partner, or he's not the lead partner of the coalition in Bihar, right? So I think he is coming under the control of BJP leadership, in a way, indirectly, I could say. So BJP doesn't mind, Nitish forms a government, and it also gives a message to the country. Two things. One, if they decide like that, I'm not so sure. If they decide to go with Nitish and Nitish forms the government, I think this gives a message that, okay, we are not going, we are not against coalition. At least, we are ready to, accommodate our coalition partner interest, even though he's a junior partner. Probably, that also gives a signal to, Maharashtra government. Who knows? I mean, the politics is always, not the way we may think. It's always there are so many opportunities and possibilities and permutations and combinations. So if they say that, if BJP if they can form a government, and why not Shiv Sena can also come out of this government? I mean, I'm just giving a wild guess, but not easy. So that is possible. So BJP is in a comfortable position. BJP should be happy to say that we won the elections after there was a hiatus, right? There was a gap in winning state assembly elections, even though it is in a coalition form. But I think they should be happy about it. The other factor, Gautam,
one other question I used to ask this.
I just want to add one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the election was all about Nitish Kumar and incumbency, anti-incumbency Nitish Kumar. And what BJP tried here, they didn't even have the picture of Nitish Kumar in their posters or banners or in the advertisement materials. And Modi was there, attended all election rallies. And surprisingly, this actually is a very interesting turn if the projections are right. I mean, I'm just giving some broader picture. If NDA is able to form a government and BJP is able to win 75 seats, it's a different scenario emerging now, and after a few years that Modi is able to pull it back, because people believe, or the statistics show that whenever Modi is a candidate, okay, people vote for him or the coalition or the party they are in partnership with. But when Modi is not a candidate, we have not seen that kind of swing. There is a swing, but not a significant, like say 20% swing, right? Now there was an anti-incumbency in Bihar, and if you're able to overcome that, I think the numbers are very right. Modi played a major role in that, and that will be a reassuring factor for BJP at the national level. Okay? And second thing, COVID and economy, a lot of debates are happening in India, right? So this could be, BJP can claim that, we are doing well. I mean, on the political front, on the economic front, people agree to our, policies and everything. That will be that's what I said. This could be a game changer in that, if India forms a government.
Yes, even they get an approval for the Farm Bills amendment, maybe yes. The Ram Temple, everything. Right. So, sir, one thing. I used to ask this question every time when we discuss elections. So it's about Indian National Congress. Okay. So, Indian National Congress is one of the political parties in the whole Bihar election scenario who have the strike rate is so low. So they have contested 70 seats and now they are leading in around 19 seats. It seems. So what will be their fortune after Bihar elections? We know the upcoming elections are Bengal, then it's Tamil Nadu. So in Bengal, they don't have much of a presence now as per the current situation. In Tamil Nadu, the scenario is not so different. So and the next election will be in Kerala. So they have a presence in Kerala, but with the current performance in Bihar, just around 19 seats from the 70 seats contested. Even I do remember when Lalu Prasad Yadav is having an opinion about the RJD should not give Congress 70 seats because if you give 70 seats to Congress, the BJP will come and buy the MLA. That's what Lalu Prasad Yadav said when the discussions were going on. But somehow they could bargain it and finalize it at 70 seats. So what do you think about the fortune of the oldest national party in India?
I think I've told you. I've already told you, right? Tell me one Bihar, Congress leader, somebody very familiar, somebody we watch them on television, or somebody who has done some groundwork and claiming that okay, we have done this much of work. And we built our organizational structure in Bihar. I think it's not about Bihar finally. It's actually, I believe, Congress party has to reinvent if they have to survive and see the next 5 years. Few things happened. This is my assessment. I think lack of leadership. They have not settled the leadership issue at the national level. Who's their leader? Nobody knows. Sometimes it's Rahul Gandhi. At times it's Priyanka Vathera. It is at times somebody else comes in the picture, and senior leaders are complaining. Imagine a party, old party. We say grand old party like GOP in USA. This party is not able to find a solution, come to an agreement that this is the person who is going to lead the party. And then Rahul Gandhi says that I don't want to go lead the party. At the same time, he appears here and there. Look at what happened in Bihar. How many election rallies were addressed by Gandhi family? And if you look at Jharkhand elections, there's one learning statistics. I'm sure those Congress workers listening to or watching this live, they may not like my comment, but one clear message was there. Rahul Gandhi didn't campaign in Jharkhand, and I mean the way he used to do in many other states, and they want him. So there is a message going on. There is a disconnect between the leadership and the ground. Second, I think probably a state like Kerala or Punjab has got some organization structures, but by and large, I don't see those structure anywhere. So you look at Gujarat today. Gujarat had 8 seats and by polls, and MLAs were 5 Congress MLAs were switching to BJP during the time of the Rajya Sabha election. They all won today. So Jyotiraditya Scindia, I don't consider him as a very popular leader. Probably he's very popular in his region, or for various reasons he's a leader at his level. Many of his loyalists is winning. They're all winning elections today. And what did Congress party do? I mean, they didn't do anything, right? I mean, they just tomorrow also. I mean, just wait for another 24 hours. If NDA comes to around 124 short of 2 seats, I am not surprised if few MLAs immediately jump to BJP camp tonight or tomorrow morning before they take them to resorts. Right. So there is no organization structure. There is no leadership. They are not molding or mentoring leaders at the state level. They are not getting into the active issues. Look at Amarinder Singh all the way from Punjab. He came to Jantar Mandir and staging this dharna. Where is the Congress leadership? Right? There's a question that we need to ask. And what are they getting? What is the support they're getting at the national level? They're raising some issues. We can agree, disagree. That's not the point here. But as a political party, what is the strategy? There is no strategy. I think this will inflict even in Kerala also sooner than later. I'm sure about it, because our organization structure is also very weak. We claim that everything is going good, but I think they won election because of some other reasons last time. So it doesn't mean that they're going to win again and again. There's no walkover in politics. BJP is, look at BJP. We can disagree with every policy that they have. I mean, let's say. But look at the election machinery they are running. Look at the hard work. They started Bengal elections campaign in June itself, right? Next year, June itself, they started the campaign. So that's how they prepare. The winning and losing a different issue finally, right? It's all number game. But you are building, you are equipping, you are improvising your party machinery at every level. I think that is also one of the issues that JDU is facing now. I think so. Because JDU, if they were not able to convert the thousands of people who attended Tejasvi Yadav, I think that there's a poor party machinery. Whereas CPI ML, right, they're able to do good. I mean, I think there's a party machinery running for them. So we have to learn. I think Congress party is not ready to learn. They keep, they always find excuses. I think instead of finding excuses, they should go to war room and say, what is the problem with the party? And another thing is they also lost that vote bank from 1950s and 1960s, 1970s. I think the vote bank they were what you call it's a sure vote bank. I would say that majority of that vote bank has gone to BJP now. So Congress party has to reinvent what is a vote bank for them. So upper castes are not voting for Congress anymore because BJP has taken over that vote bank. Your Dalits and Mahadalits, except in UP and several places, I think they are also voting for BJP. What is the vote bank? And Congress is confused even on the economic front. Some of the policy issues they are into now. I think there again they are confused. What is the policy? They're very confused. Confused lot, I would say.
Yeah, sir. When we can see there are conflict of interest between the Kerala section of Congress and the national leadership of Congress. There are like many contentions between both these Congress. So one more thing. So if we when saying about the strike rate, the left alliance who are with the Mahagathbandhan with the in the 29 seats they have contested, they are leading in around 19 seats as of now. So we all know that Bihar had a history of left politics in the past. We had MPs, they had MLAs from the CPI ML, CPI, and CPIM in the past. But so what does this mean to the left politics in India? Are we seeing maybe a resurgence or something?
I think Gautam, we need to look at when we say left parties, it is CPI ML, right? It's not CPI or CPI.
Yes, ML,
right? So CPIM's presence, I think it's confined to Bihar, West Bengal, probably some part of Telangana and all. not much, right? So, and also there is I'm sure among the left parties, they disagree and agree on some of the views, the stand taken by CPI-ML. So I see, I'm not discounting the factor that, left parties are doing well. That's not the thing. I mean, I acknowledge that fact. But since you asked about what is the impact on the national, in the national elections or at the national level, I say, what is the role CPI-ML could play at the national level, right? These are the areas, traditionally they are very strong, and I think it is like, what happened in Tamil Nadu, because CPI, I mean, I'm not discounting it again, but still, we have to understand that when DMK formed alliance with CPI and CPM, they were able to win, 4 seats. So similarly, there is a way, but I think from the 2019 general election, CPI-ML, and I think 2015 onwards, I think we could see CPI-ML had seats. I think the best performance in the past for CPI-ML is 6 seats, or I think 9 seats, 6 seats, I suppose. That was in 2005 elections, not in recent times. So after 15 years, they are improving the show. Yeah, after 15 years, they're improving the show. But the question is how much that can have an impact at the national level. I'm not so sure, because there's a core constituency, and they made it, they made a right alliance, and if they were not in the alliance, probably you have to think about it. If they were not in the alliance, politics is always an art of possibilities. They formed the right alliance. It clicked, and I think they were demanding this kind of arrangement with Mahagathbandhan for the last few years, because they showed some really improved performance was there from CPI-ML during 2019 general elections also. So they had these calculations since then that they could be able to win. So in that what do you call Hawa, all left parties are gaining, but I am not so sure whether it will have an impact, let's say in West Bengal elections or in Kerala elections, because we are miles apart, 3,000 kilometers away, and but it's also narrative. I can also tell you that tomorrow, if all the media in Kerala, it depends on the narrative that we construct. If the media in Kerala says that there's a resurgence of left parties, I don't think public, go into the details of whether CPI-ML or CPI or CPM. That's a different issue. But there is a resurgence, and there are 19 states won by left parties. That will have an impact on Kerala also, because it depends a lot on the narrative.
Yeah, I asked this question specifically because I have seen the news, the Malayalam channels, their scrolls are going. There's a left resurgence in Bihar.
No, the left parties are making actually CPI-ML is kind of I'm not saying it's a banned party, but it's a kind of, quote and unquote, we are not accepting that in Kerala. We have traditional, left parties here, and they are happy to, I don't think they give space to CPI-ML also. That's also there, right? If suppose somebody comes tomorrow forward saying that I am representing CPI-ML, I don't think our left parties are ready to give them.
No, they are not the part of the LDF here, for sure. So, I would like to take some questions from the audience now. So, Ghazi Hassan has asked a question. It's about people were arguing handling of COVID pandemic by Bihar government will cost them this election. But the trends as of now is showing an opposite scenario. So, although we could see a resentment towards Nitish Kumar in the election rallies, even sometimes we could see in the election rallies of Nitish Kumar somebody chanting about Lalu Prasad Yadav, and Nitish Kumar was angry about that. But
onions
still,
were
can we say that the
onions were thrown at him?
Yeah. So, and still the charisma of Narendra Modi single-handedly taking on the opposition, is that what we see now? Right, no, because the NDA election.
I don't want to call the election still. Still.
Okay.
Because the issue now we are facing, even in US election also, what we have faced is certain things are very unprecedented. I mean, these trends that we see, because US election by and large, I mean, all my election analysis experience all these years, US elections are usually called by night, meaning night there or early morning here. We call the elections because that's it. But look at it, even now counting is still going on few states. It's not over. because the mail-in ballots were so high. In Bihar, I was watching election commission's press conference. They said, this time postal ballots were more. I mean, there's a significant increase in postal ballots here in Bihar also. So, and this is taking a lot of time. By this time, in normal cases, if you are in regular times, I think by 2 o'clock we would have come to know who is winning the election. So even now it's we are waiting for the final count, and then we don't know which. The problem here is I don't have exact numbers of constituency by constituency how much vote is counted. Okay, so that's a problem. So it's not easy to call the election. But now answering Ghazi's question about charisma, that is what I said in the earlier phase. I mean, I had mentioned the role of Narendra Modi and how this is a pleasant surprise to BJP if the projections are right, because Narendra Modi failed in Jharkhand, he failed in Madhya Pradesh, a strong BJP state. He failed in Maharashtra, he failed in Delhi, he failed in even in Karnataka. But we all know that there's a swing. I mean, I personally consider like 3 to 6% swing is there. Some statistics I know. Every time he campaigns in the last 2 days, 3 days, he goes for a what do you call a huge campaign rallies, big campaign rallies he hold. But this time, if the numbers are right, because that's a very relevant point, because during this time, COVID time, if he is able to win the confidence of the electorate, larger electorate, I think BJP will be so happy. I think more than what they do with the Bihar government, whether they form the government or not. I think that's also a tricky thing for them eventually, because it is looking like a very presidential kind of campaigning going on, and you are depending on Modi every time. I don't know this time he was able to pull it off, great. But next time when West Bengal elections or Kerala elections happens, I don't know how much Modi can pull it. I mean, it depends on various other factors. But it will probably a reassuring factor that for the BJP that Modi has not lost that charisma, and the policies of India government is by and large is approved by the voters. I mean, that will be because government is also pushing so many reform agenda. And usually what happens is, when you push some reforms and then you have election laws, you just withdraw, because finally any politician want to hold on to the power, you don't have to take risks. But if this happens, India is formed, government is formed in Bihar, I think this is a reassuring factor to the BJP leadership or the government that you can push the government agenda, reform agenda. By the way, that also raises the issue of, probably NRCs and citizenship. That's another thing. So that also we need to see, whether government formation in Bihar, will it encourage central government to revive all those, what you call the projects or the promises that they have in the manifesto. We have to see.
So when you just talked about the NRC, there was an issue when Yogi Adityanath was campaigning in Bihar. He was like,
Hello.
Yes, sir. So when Yogi Adityanath was campaigning in Bihar, he just thought that if BJP comes back to power, if NDA comes back to power, we will be enforcing NRC in Bihar. But right away, Nitish Kumar came and opposed that.
No, the challenge that Nitish is going to have is he's going to be a junior partner. If they form the government, even if he becomes the chief minister of Bihar, there is a challenge. And the another one is I'm not so sure whether he's ready for another election, non 5 years. So there are two possibilities. One is he doesn't care about what is happening because he is in power and he is in agreement with the BJP, because he doesn't have a legacy problem now. The legacy problem meaning that if there is a succession problem for JDU, this could have been a big issue because the next generation of leaders of JDU, what they think about these policies. As of now, there is no, I don't see anybody as emerging as a successor to Nitish in Bihar. So he may disagree with the government policies, whether it is NRC or any other policy, but he doesn't have to bother about it as long as because he's a smart politician. Smart in the sense he always ensured to have that what you call, he wants to be in power, right, irrespective of what happens. I mean, who is the coalition partner, who is coming with him, joining with him. So he can take that that stand still, and then he can continue in power. And and you know what, next election is Bengal, and all the theories around NRC is the big weapon, I would say, or the big policy statement by government to win West Bengal elections. So the challenge would be like, you are winning Bihar elections, and then it gives you kind of comfort, or it actually encourages you to take it up in a big way in the next 6 months before West Bengal elections are held.
Hello. So there's another question from Aravind, which is about how much do you think this pandemic would have? What is the role of, I mean, how much? Hello?
I can hear you. Yeah.
So how much do you think handling the pandemic was a factor in this election?
I mean, I think they're still counting the votes. I think it was a major factor in all the opinion polls, because I think people said 20%, 30%, they said, pandemic is a big issue for them. And there were claims and counterclaims. Nitish said, I did all these things. Then there was a counterclaim that it didn't come to, beneficiaries. And there is also one more interesting thing, by the way, that is actually important when we analyze these numbers. In Bihar, I think BJP workers were very smart. They ensured that the voters or beneficiaries, they got these rations and all. They were told, or the message was conveyed to them, that this is done by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, not by Chief Minister. So I'm not surprised seeing these numbers, because that is a larger narrative they created in the last few months, because they knew that, and there was always, I think there was a reason for them to do that LJP, understanding with LJP, so that they will attack Nitish and all, because BJP by and large in today's, under today's leadership at the national level, I think they want to become a major party. It's not like they want to be a second or third partner in any coalition or any government they are part of, right? Even Northeast, you can see those, they're actually getting into pushing out the major, leading partners from the equations. So here, the pandemic, I think the message has been conveyed to the voters that, these are all done by government in Delhi, by Narendra Modi. Please vote for him. So I think that's a way we should look into it. What is the message that they created? So I think in most of the opinion polls, it is also shown that people are happy with Modi. I mean, but at the same time, they told the pollsters that, let him rule the country, and we want a change. But that we want a change is not reflected so far. It's like a very, very close fight in Bihar. But if that happens, BJP is able to, or the NDA is able to retain the government, that shows that they are successful in converting those messaging into votes. Hello. Hello. I can hear you, brother.
Hello.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Achha, JP Nadda as a party president, as a national party president, as is not as successful as Amit Shah was, right? So he couldn't do well at Delhi elections. the Jharkhand elections was a setback. So the Bihar elections was mostly guided, I mean, mostly planned by JP Nadda, and Amit Shah was not present in the scenario much.
I think for some conspicuous reasons, I think Amit Shah was not so visible during the campaign trail in Bihar. Nadda was leading, but at the same time, I think BJP insiders always say that, okay, he's a president, but Amit Shah ji calls the shots. And I think the person who congratulated Nitish Kumar, as far as from, I'm just, my understanding from the news report is that Amit Shah called Nitish Kumar in the evening and congratulated him. It was not JP Nadda. Okay, so that shows that even now how the equations are there within BJP, and I think all focus is now going to be in West Bengal. I think that is where Shah is leading from the front. He has been to West Bengal a few times. He was there in West Bengal last week also. And I think that's a big fight. I think that's a big fight they are looking at. I think that's also the reason I said that probably they are pleasantly surprised by these numbers now in Bihar. I don't think they were, my understanding is that they were not expecting such kind of a lead, a consistent lead, from the morning. So far, I think I've not seen that. I mean, consistently NDA is leading. It is like, 120, 121, 122, but I mean, only in the postal ballot time, early hours, Mahagathbandhan was there for a few minutes, but otherwise they have a consistent lead. That actually tells you a lot of things. There's a consistency. That is also the reason some of the pollsters are saying now that NDA will be able to form the government because not much change. There's consistently, the poll position, they're approaching the poll position and they're maintaining the lead.
One more question is that will we be witnessing will we be witnessing a scenario like Maharashtra where the resort comes into play, the governor comes into play, then what happened in Maharashtra a few months back? Will there be a situation like that?
Here the thing is both the fronts, it was a pre-poll alliances, right? I mean, NDA is a pre-poll alliance, and then the Mahagathbandhan is also pre-poll alliance. So there is no confusion on that front. And also one more thing is BJP is the leading party. I mean, probably the single largest party. So all by conventions, and if NDA finally becomes the leading coalition, in terms of number of seats they won, obviously it's easier for governor to call them to prove their majority and form the government. Unlike Maharashtra. The issue would be like, if Nitish Kumar, if BJP is not ready to settle with Nitish Kumar as chief minister, or Nitish Kumar bargains, then like what happened in Maharashtra, Shiv Sena walked out because they wanted chief ministership. I think here it's a remote possibility as of now. I think Nitish doesn't have that many choices, like at this juncture, because if he goes other side, my fear is that there could be a party split. I think they were in power. There is a problem. When a party is in power for 15 years. I don't think anybody who's winning this election, they don't want to lose that power because they enjoy the comfort of power, right? They are in the office for the last 15 years. And if BJP offers something great, right, I'm sure many of the JDU MLAs will go to BJP. They don't care. And that is also the reason I said today, the bi-poll results is a reassuring factor to all the dissenters, right? I mean, dissident factions, because they can resign after 6 months. They can win the elections because BJP has the money power and manpower to help them to win elected, right? So that's another possibility. If today, imagine if the bi-poll results were opposite, probably everybody would have thought about it once, at least once. Okay, if I get out of my parent party and go to BJP, what is the assurance that I'll get elected next time? But today's bi-poll shows that it's almost like 99% certainty that you will get elected. So that is what I said. The smaller parties have got lesser bargaining power over and over in Indian politics. The party in Delhi is dominating in every sense everywhere. Good or bad is a different debate, academic debate. Is good for the democracy? That again a different debate. But I think the parties are pushed to margins. And remember, there was a question to Mayawati. I think her party is leading in one seat somewhere closer to I think one seat. I think they were leading in between. So somebody asked this question to Mayawati in the morning whether they.
Yes.
She said, if I'm not wrong, if I mean, I think she said I'll support BJP government. That's what she took. I mean, I think.
Even for Rajya Sabha seat, Mayawati told that to defeat Samajwadi and Akhilesh Yadav,
actually BJP has encircled all these parties now. I mean, and at the same time, they don't believe in this coalition building. So I don't know the long-term strategies for them, but as of now, that is a reality in Indian politics.
So, sir, we have this last question from Rohit about this. We have discussed a bit earlier. It's about LJP. So, with the current, the result that we see, what will be the future of Chirag Paswan? I mean, will he be a part of history, or will he be a part of BJP in the years to come? Any guesses?
No, we can't say that. On that. I think I answered this question earlier also. I think we can't predict anything now. As of now, today he is not a big factor in today. I mean today and tomorrow, because maximum he may win 2 seats or at times 1 seat. In this present equation, those 2 seats don't count much. You know why? Because BJP count only for those for NDA, right? If I don't think Chirag Paswan is counted by, because the problem is if he moves to the opposition side now, I think he is losing a big share in central, because they are a ally and they have a berth actually. It was a union cabinet berth. Ramvilas Paswan was one of the senior cabinet ministers. So I don't think he will discount that factor, or he doesn't want to get into that problem where he doesn't have any say in opposition and also with the NDA. So he may prefer to continue with NDA at least for the time being. And but I think it shows that he is not I think he has to learn a lot in politics before he becomes a big factor in Indian politics. Ramvilas Paswan was a seasoned politician, but I don't think his son has inherited or his legacy or those master strokes that Paswan always had. Paswan associated with the ministries, UPA, NDA, Vajpayee, Manmohan Singh, Modi. I mean, every time he made sure that he has got sharing the power. But I think that is not the case with his son now. So long term, we have to see how the situation changes, because it also depends on what is the future of Nitish Kumar. I think that a lot depends on his future and the government formation. What is the future of JDU? Whether then what BJP strategy to slowly they're decimating JDU, right? So that is what is happening. So I think we have to wait. Interestingly, today is the IPL final, right? And Tejasvi Yadav was warming Delhi Capital, Delhi team's reserve bench.
He was a part of Delhi Capital Fund.
So he was warming it. So probably by 9:30, Delhi team is looking for the first victory in this year, and they are in the field today. So by 9:30, I think we probably will get a better picture whether along with the Delhi Capitals, Tejasvi Yadav is also getting into chief minister's post. That is, we have to wait and watch. But as of now, it still looks like in favor of NDA, because they're not going below 120. That's my thing. I mean, still, even though 130 become 124 for last 1 hour, but still they are balancing that number. So anything around 120, I say NDA has got advantage.
So on that note, I think we can conclude the session. So thank you, sir. It was a good discussion, fruitful discussion. So the Bihar elections, the counting is still going on. Even the election commission said that we have to wait till the midnight for the final election results. So we can wait till the final results are.
You watch
what
IPL
will happen?
and you watch Indian Premier League along with the Indian political league. That's what I would suggest. Enjoy the event.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Also, you can get our more content by following the hashtag #decoding the polls, and we will be coming back with more election related content. Till then, bye. Thank you.